is Amanda. I'm just getting out of Bible study, and I wanted to encourage you real quick. You know, we're about to go into a new year, and it's vital to be transformed by the renewing of our minds so that we can do what the Bible tells us, to prove what is that good and perfect and acceptable will of God for our lives. So, you know, it's about developing a mentality to know that you've been forgiven and you've been redeemed. I'm not going to get on here and preach to you on tonight, but I did want to encourage you and say, I don't know what it is you may be going through, what lies the enemy may be telling you, but now it's time to step out on faith. Now it's time to understand that the Lord is on your side. In Romans 8 it tells us, what shall I say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? It also tells us there's no more condemnation to those who are in Christ, who walk not after the flesh but after the Spirit. For the law of life in Christ Jesus has made us free from the law of sin and death. And really what it does is it forces you to retrain your thoughts. It forces you to think on a higher level. It forces you to lean on the Lord for help. That's what it does. See, greater is he that is in you than he that's in the world. See, a lot of times, you know, it's okay to have this, you know, this mentality of, you know, I think I can, the little engine that could. But really, when we understand what Philippians 4:13 tells us, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. See, it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. It's not about trying to be on the level of the expectations of what others may try to impose on you. It's about understanding, digging in that word and saying, Lord, what are you saying about my situation? You know, you may think, well, what's the point of pressing out the Bible study? What's the point of pressing out the church? He tells us don't forsake the assembling of ourselves with other believers. Yeah, sure, you got a lot of power in prayer. He said when you pray in secret, he'll reward you openly. But it's something about corporately worshiping. One could put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. You need to know that you're not in it alone. You're not in it by yourself. You know, a lot of times your situation and circumstances can have you discouraged if you allow it to. But what it's about now is about time to step out of that boat. It's about time to say, I walk by faith and not by sight. It's about time to say, you know what? I'm going to speak to that mountain and tell it to move. You got to learn how to call things that be not as though they were. Why? Because death and life are in the power of the tongue. And those who love it will eat the fruit of it. I can testify. I mean, I'm not part of the clergy, but I can give you my testimony. Why? They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. The Bible tells us, let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy. I can tell you right now, a little over a week ago, I was hit by a car, and here I am standing before you guys, testifying about the goodness of God. My family is not planning my funeral. I'm not in a coma trying to gain consciousness, but here I am because the Lord is faithful. And when the Lord's been faithful to you, be faithful to him. Why? Because he says, no good thing will he withhold from them who walk uprightly. And if you look behind me, you can see that it's rainy out. But that didn't stop me from pressing out. That didn't stop me from pressing my way. Why? Because he said, if you be willing and obedient, you'll eat from the good of the land. It's about understanding that the Lord will reward your faithfulness. And it's not always the popular decision. Folk may think you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Folk may think you losing your mind. But you know what? Jesus made himself of no reputation. So it's not about what people think. It's about what's going to take for you to get your miracle, your breakthrough. Other people are in line behind you, dependent on you. You have a calling. You have an assignment. So the Lord tells us to redeem our time, for the days are evil. It's not okay for folks to waste your time. Yes, we're called to love God and to love people, but he tells us to redeem our time. So understand that you have a mission. And it may seem like a high call, but guess what? The Lord is on your side. Look, I'm walking with a cane to support my weight. Not because I can't walk, but sometimes the word is like a cane for us. He won't put us more on us than we can bear. And that's why it's important to understand, seeking God is not a sign of weakness. Seeking God is not saying, okay, well, people are going to think I'm soft and they're going to take advantage of me. See, no, that's thinking about self. When you take your mind off of yourself and you put your eyes on the God that can't fail, all things are possible with the Lord. See, with man, things are impossible, but not with God. So I didn't want to be before you long tonight, but I did want to encourage you and let you know that the Lord will deliver and honor you. Don't worry about those past mistakes. Whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord our God shall be saved. When you do things, don't do it for men. Do it as unto the Lord. For he said, whatsoever good any man doeth, the same shall they receive of the Lord. Remember, the worst is behind you and the best is yet to come. Make this year a memorable year. Make this year a year where you're blessed to be a blessing. Make this year where you look back and say, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, because God gets the glory when you let your light shine. Shalom.